Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to assemble this bear chair. This one I purchased from Lowe's a couple of weeks ago, paid about 80 bucks. This one here is 100% pine. All the instructions and all the components that are needed to put this together are listed right there on the box. So all we have to do basically is just prep it. I'll just show you over here what it comes with. So there's everything right there. All the appropriate parts, pre-drilled, sanded, with instructions. As I said, the instructions list that you should be pre-sanding it, but I made one before, didn't need to sand it, everything looked out good, turned out fantastic. I'll show you with that finished product after, at the end. But this one here is basically a list of everything that is needed in there that you should be going through itself to make sure that you have everything together. As I said, everything's pre-drilled. You can see all the holes, all pre-drilled, countersink. Back up here, I'll show you everything here. So today what I'm going to do is basically I'm just going to start by painting this chair itself. I'm going to be painting white and blue, basically dedication to my favorite team. You'll take a look at the end. No secrets as of yet as to which team it is. But as I say blue and white, most of you can probably guess who it is. So today I'm going to be using this paint here. I got this from Home Depot. It basically is a paint primer 2-in-1 kind of thing where I can just basically shoot up the color itself and one shot and we're pretty much done. Dries in about 2 hours and then you can do a second coat an hour later itself. So everything worked out, like I said, for my previous project, and I like the product itself, and it's a good one. So I'll show you what I'm going to be doing. So I'm just going to let everything here sit for about an hour or so before I put another coat on it itself, and then after that I'll flip it over and paint the other side. But this is going to be a project that's not going to be completed in a day, obviously, so you're going to have to take your time, be patient, get a little bit creative maybe with the painting. You can do some masking, designs and things like that, but this one I'm going to keep it straightforward and simple for you. But I'll be back after to flip it over. Hey guys, so I'm back here now. I've just turned the boards over itself. So what I've done is I've actually cleaned out the actual nozzle of the sprayer itself so that because it's been sitting since I've been waiting for this to dry, it's clogged up, so I just wiped it down a bit with a moist towel. So I'm just going to spray it over again itself, both sides itself, and then we'll just let it dry. So I've got a chance to get everything painted. Everything's all laid out here in their final painting. I've brought everything indoors because it's not the greatest weather today after a couple of days here. So today what I'll do is I'm going to put everything together and show you guys what it looks like when it's done. Alright, so for the first part, it's it. I'm just going to put together the bottom part. So the bottom part are basically set up with these two pieces here, plus the two braces here. What I've done with these braces here is I've actually just put a little bit of a stopper or basically footing that's going to be on the ground itself when the chair sits down. Basically what I want to do is I want to do that because if I put this chair on concrete, the paint will start scraping off, and then I don't want blue paint all over my concrete. So what I'll do is I'm going to basically put it together using these screws here that were supplied in the box itself. These are galvanized screws, so they won't rust when this chair sits out during the season itself. So I'll show you guys on the one side here, and then we'll put it together. So there's pre-drilled holes, 4 on this one here, 4 on the back side. It'll basically sit at an angle like this itself with this brace like that itself, just support it. So I'll just take the screw here. Just put the screw in here. And what you want to do is basically just line up the screws. So you can see the screws are coming through on the bottom right there. Alright, so I got the glue now. So this is basically just wood glue. The instructions actually tells you to actually use wood glue when you're putting your joints together. So that's good. Nice and together. Now you can put your other 2 screws in here. You basically use those first 2 screws just to sort of line everything up so that you don't have to figure out where these other 2 go. I'm just going to put this level back again up here. I'll put this one down here. So you may have some excess glue on the back end itself coming through. Just run your finger along the side of it, and that cleans everything off there. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing for the other side here, and then we'll come back and show you the assembly of the slats that cover the seating area. Alright, so now that I have both sides screwed in itself, both bottom braces are intact right now, I'll just show you a rough outline of how it's going to go when this front plate goes onto it itself. So, like I said, if it goes down one like this, second one itself would be basically like that, with the front piece basically would go on the front side itself like this. So one at this end here and the other one on the other end right there. I'll put a little bit of glue on the sides, on the ends themselves before I fasten them in, and it'll go together. Now I need both hands, so I'm going to put one together itself, one side together, and then I will show you what it looks like put together. Alright, so now I have the front facing part in, and you can see the general makeup of the chair already, the way that it is. You can basically see the bear right there in the middle, so that he's the starting point of your chair itself from the front facing. Now the other pieces themselves, I'm just going to put them in place right now very roughly so that you have an idea. Basically speaking, if you take a look at the side profile of the chair itself, you have these angles here. This piece here will start right over here. So from this edge here, that top part here, in to here about 1 inch is basically where this will start. So you're looking at about 1 inch in, and that would be where this piece starts. So the round piece would be facing the back, because when you have your back piece in, it'll curve around this side here. And I'll just put the other pieces in at the same time. So very careful when you're putting these pieces in. You don't want to put them in this way here, because this side here, you can see the holes. in comparison to the other side here, these ones are actually countersink. These are the clean side, which should be facing upward itself. So if you see these holes here, everything facing upward itself. If you put it this side here, your screws won't countersink and they'll stick up. You don't want your screws sticking up, you want them flush, completely flush when you put them in. And then from here itself, I'm going to adjust the spacing to be equal all the way down to the back itself. Just remember that when you're putting these together itself, just put a little bit of glue on the ends itself so it helps everything hold together. So what I'll do is I'm going to put all these things together. I've actually completed my the slots. The slots are all in place right now, and I must say it looks pretty good. The spacing is pretty ideal. I basically just eyeballed it for the most part itself. You can use your fingers and test that out, the spacing, but you won't get it perfect, but you get it really darn close itself. But as I can see, like I said, it looks pretty good. So what I'm going to show you now is basically the back portion. The back portion is going to be a little bit on the tricky side. What you're going to be using is you're going to be using these pieces here. The first one is that one there, and the next one is a wider, almost like a cutout of a C itself, elongated itself. Now what they want to do according to the instructions, the spacing between the two, the top part itself and the bottom part itself, is about 20 and 1/8 spacing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure really quickly here, 20 and 1/8. So that's greater than 21/8. Let's get it down to 21/8 right there. So these are your back pieces. Like I'll put them all together. What they want you to do is you want to locate the center one, which is this one. This is the center piece itself. This is the important one because from here everything else will branch off from here, left and right. So we'll just put this one here in the middle. Don't worry about how accurate it is as of yet, because that's what we're trying to do here, trying to determine where the middle part is. We'll just put them together. So what you want to do, I'm just going to move this a bit further back so we can see some space there. The screw holes itself, make sure that they're all lined up with this board here, dead center. Same with the bottom side itself, you want to make sure that they're dead center with the board that is going to support or anchor it. So put your hand underneath, lift it up flat. Because of the curvature of this arch itself, these will not be completely flush itself. They'll be staggered, and I'll show you that. So what you want to do from here is the spacing where the curve here goes down on both sides has to be equal, as well as the spacing on this side here has to be equal itself to determine where this middle board goes. So there's going to be a little bit of adjustments, moving around back and forth before you figure out where this middle board goes itself, but basically it's measuring this space here and this space here has to be equal. So the space here and the space here has to be equal, as well as the space here and here have to be equal also to determine the middle board itself. So I'm going to do those adjustments itself, line up this middle board, and then I'll put everything together for you guys to see. Alright, so I have everything lined up right now. Make sure that everything, the screws are going to be lined up with the board itself right in the middle. So all the way down that side here, and basically down this side here, you make sure that everything's going to be lined up. So what I want to do is I want to put some glue before I fasten these boards onto the braces itself. So in order to not throw everything out of line here, basically just take out the middle one. Just take the middle part out itself. Just be gentle with it. Oh, that's not coming out here. So basically the middle one comes out. Slide it out. Put a little glue down right here. And in the middle here. Pop it back in. Centerpiece. I'm going to put 2 screws on it, and that will give me my starting point. And from here, I'm just going to move the 2 end boards to the furthest corners and move them, the bottom one to the farthest edge itself. And then move the next one over. Get your spacing there. Remember that you want to make sure that your arch that's on the top here is as even as possible. So if you need to adjust it a little bit by moving it down itself, just make sure that your board on the bottom part lines up with the back brace itself. Just do a little bit of adjustment there. Line this one out a bit further to the edge. Alright, so I have the backboard already put together, right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the backing onto the actual bottom part itself connection, which is really straightforward itself. Basically, it'll fit in a shape something like this. Right. And that slide itself right in there, like that. So what I'm going to do is basically put some glue down, as usual. Put some glue down on the back portion right here. and right here, and then install the back part. You can see this whole assembly is a little bit on the time-consuming side, but overall, like I said, it is quite an accomplishment at the end when you get it done, because it looks amazing. So as I said, just line it up, slide it into the little track right there on the back there, make sure that everything's lined up. Grab yourself a screw. Turn it around here. Grab myself another screw. Let me this time try not to have this whole thing shift on me. There we go. And that is your back piece in place. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some supports. The supports will go from this point here downward, and on the back part itself. I'll get those boards. And these are the boards here. You can tell because these are the ones that have the cutoff angles on the back itself, which basically will sit like this on your backing part itself. And then we'll fasten to the bottom part lightly, just put a screw there, and one more on this side here. And that temporarily holds everything together so that we can get the arms on. Now the next thing I'm going to need to do is put together the anchors that support the brace for the arm on the front. I'll get those ones. And kind of stuff in there. Glue on both sides. Alright, so I've got my arm all painted. I'm not going to show you the other arm because the other arm is actually the surprise to this all. So all of this is happening here. So these arms will go right here. And then a little bit right here. Alright. So what you want to do is basically just put the armrest, rest it on here. And then on this one here, just make sure that the back part of the armrest is flush with this brace here. So just want to move it around, get it centered in the middle. As you can see, I've actually put the screws so that they're sticking out itself. It makes it easier for marking and getting the screw started. So just eyeball it, level it. And I think right about here, push it in. Grab a screwdriver. So that's that. So now what you need to do is from the front here, you see how it's not lined up and it's a little bit over. All you do is grab it, shift it over a bit, and you can actually feel the space underneath here, and then there's a space underneath on this side here. I just hold it right there. Make sure you sort of get an idea of how it looks from the front side and the back side itself. Pull it down, grab your screwdriver and just screw in. Yes, so that's one. I know the bit is setting up wear on here, so it's jumping around. Right? Last one is this one here. And that's that for that side there. So now, for the last side, as I said, this one here is my dedication to my favorite, one of my favorite teams. This color here being blue and white. Some of you might already know that blue and white is the true color of the mighty Toronto Maple Leafs. So this one here will fasten on this side here. So just make sure that your chair is on flat ground, and if it is and everything sits on the flat itself, what you can do is you can basically tighten these 4 screws, and that will give you a proper balance on this on your chair. Alright, so this is your finished Muskoka chair. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chairs out after, take them outside, and I'm going to get some Varathane on them. I'm going to be using this Varathane here, and that Varathane basically will seal the chairs and give them a little bit of a semi-gloss shine on them itself. You know that the paint that I used was the Bear's primer and paint that has already protected the chairs and the wood. I don't really need to do the semi-gloss Varathane, but I'm using the semi-gloss Varathane because I like the shine on it, I like the smoothness of it, and I think it gives it an added protection. So that is completion of this chair. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my other chair that I made itself, so that you guys can take a look at both the chairs that I've made. That is my second chair itself. That chair itself, obviously, another dedication to my other Toronto team itself, the NBA champions, the Toronto Raptors. Now, if you're any of you wondering in regards to the lettering and everything like that, I got actual vinyl stencils made up and painted. I painted them on. I had my wife help me out with those stencils itself. She did a fantastic job itself. And then with the Verifane, it basically seals it, gives it a little bit of a glossy sheen on the finished product itself. But as you can see, job well done. So now we're prepared to start our summer in style. So thank you very much. If you've liked what I've put together here, any comments or questions, just shoot me a message. Aside from that, just give me a thumbs up. Thanks a lot. Take care, guys.